Am I the asshole for asking my 6-week postpartum sister-in-law if she's excited to get back to work? Hi. Throwaway account and purposely vague because I don't want any of the many people there for both incidents finding this, as I genuinely don't want to cause any more drama. I just want to see what the public thinks. Okay, so long story short, I, 28 female, have been with my husband, 31 male, for 3 years, married for 2, and we have a 2.5-year-old child. I'm currently 2 months pregnant with our second and last child. When damn husband and I met, I'm gonna say damn because it's funnier, I was child-free by choice, and I was at the top of my career. When we had our child, I was devastated at the thought of going back to work. Damn husband is a blue-collar man, and also at the top of his field. We own our vehicles, and he bought our home at 21 and has a fantastic interest rate. I lived frugally, well beneath my means, and had modest but relevant savings and investment accounts. We made the decision that I would become a stay-at-home mum until the second child enters kindergarten. It was the best decision of my life. My brother-in-law met and married my sister-in-law during this time. When I made my decision to be a stay-at-home mum, we were discussing it at a family dinner, and we actually had a small debate. Her argument was essentially, I could never give up my career for my child. I can't give up that part of myself. My career is my passion and a big part of my identity, and it's sad when women lose themselves in motherhood. Now, I am very secure in myself and my choices. And I said, I'm glad she knows what she wants just as much as I do, and I left it at that. That was about 1.5 years ago now. Well, they have a beautiful 6-week-old child. Her first, his second, and I've tried to help without overstepping as we are not particularly close. This included a meal train and lots of babysitting my nephew, brother-in-law's first child who is 4, while sister-in-law and the new baby are settling in. Here is the actual incident where I might be the asshole. We were at a family event today, and I asked her if she's excited to get back to work, as I know her maternity leave is only 8 weeks. Brother-in-law went back to work weeks ago, as I believe he only got 2 weeks. She looked at me super offended and shocked, and told me that she couldn't believe I would ask that. I clarified and said I knew how important her work is to her and that her clients were surely missing her. She is a fantastic, highly sought-after beauty technician. Again, she looked at me highly offended and said something to the effect of, well, I have to go back to work. We aren't all spoiled brats. Damn. Which honestly just ruined the whole vibe. I just looked at her like, what the hell? And she walked away. Well, now the whole family is in a disagreement because apparently I was rubbing it in her face that I get to stay home and she doesn't. Half the family remembers very clearly that she herself chastised me for my choice and think that she's being dramatic and hormonal. The other half thinks that I'm spoiled and I shouldn't shove it in people's faces. So there it is. Am I the asshole for asking her if she was excited to get back to work being a stay-at-home mum myself? Do I apologize or what? Edit to add, only because I've had to clarify twice now, we were all at the birthday party of my husband and her husband's older brother's husband's sister, so not a place that you want to make drama. I had just asked the sister-in-law of the sister how their job was because they got a promotion at the last event that I saw them at, my child's birthday party, so we were very casually talking about work. Then my sister-in-law walked up, and I asked if she was excited to return to work. I did not seek her out explicitly to ask about work. In the comments, Flattened Apex says, always breaks my heart to read that people only can get 8 weeks of maternity leave. Where I am, people get 9 months to a year. Asking her that does sound a little tone-deaf, yeah. OP says, you could definitely claim family money for my husband and his brothers, as there are 3 of them, each were gifted with a down payment on a home at 21. So for the record, sister-in-law has that same advantage as they are living in their home. He is 3 years younger than my husband, so obviously they have 3 years less equity. And yes, I was at the top of my career in my chosen field. There was no position higher than mine that wasn't technically a field change. I might be the asshole, but no one's gonna take my hard-earned success from me. 7 Inches replies, Dude, I love these usernames. Where's Hung White Boy 25? Doesn't sound that hard-earned if you got there at 25. You're at the top of your career at 25? Your husband bought a house at 21? I mean, it's screaming family money to me. It doesn't sound like you understand the difference between yours and sister-in-law's situation, which are likely more than she's a career gal and you're not. Probably you're the asshole, but that's from reading between some lines here. Oh Jesus, you think you're at the top of your field now? The inevitable crash out you'll have at 50 will be epic. Ask me how I know. Apprehensive Book says, you're the asshole. As you yourself have experienced, you can dramatically change your mind about something. You went from child-free to pregnant with your second child, and no one asked you rude questions about it. You should apologize and work on your sensitivity. OP replies, for the record, she asked me word for word if I was excited to get back to work when I was exactly 8 weeks postpartum. Our mother-in-law watched my newborn, and we, me, sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and my newborn, went to lunch after my 8-week checkup. I had to have multiple because my blood pressure was a mess. At the time, I told her and my mother-in-law that I was kind of freaking out, but I thankfully had a full 12 weeks. So 1 more full month before I had to return to work. Info. Do you not understand that career-driven women can still want more than 8 weeks of maternity leave? Just because someone cares a lot about their job doesn't mean they wouldn't appreciate having a maternity leave policy that doesn't suck ass. That's why she asked her if she was excited to go back rather than assuming. To be honest, this is kind of a chit-chat level, nice weather we're having. Nothing conversation piece, considering OP already knows she wants to return to her career. OP says, I do understand that, and personally, I left my own job partially because I was disgusted by the maternity policy. That being said, and I left this out of my post because I felt that it was somewhat related, but too far off that it wasn't relevant. When I gave birth to my child, I was not married yet, and I had to leave my job early due to medical issues and being placed on bed rest. Long story short, there was a period of like 3 months where I had no insurance when I was freshly postpartum, and they found a polyp when I was supposed to get an IUD. I had to ultimately go back for a colposcopy. Unfortunately, my husband's insurance considered this a pre-existing condition. We were very concerned with how this might impact us, but thankfully in my state, all children birthed to 5 years old and mothers up to 1 year postpartum qualify for state Medicaid. This ended up saving us and covered my IUD. When discussing this at a family dinner, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, at the time his new girlfriend, were adamant that that was living off the government, and that is why taxes were so high. They also posted that mothers should definitely not be covered postpartum because it encourages welfare queens to keep getting pregnant so that they could always have insurance. They are very staunchly against social welfare as they believe that it's just people taking advantage of the system. My husband's family is rather fiscally conservative, socially liberal, in leading, and he almost wanted to wait and get the IUD under his insurance and pay for it. But I put a stop to that conversation because it's my body, and I was terrified of falling pregnant again too soon. I wanted the IUD ASAP. So when I asked the question, are you excited to get back to work? It was less in a philosophical debate kind of tone and more of a small talk tone. For the record, we were all at the birthday party of my husband and her husband's older brother's husband's sister, so not a place that you want to make drama or have these like big debates. I had also just asked the sister-in-law of the sister how their job was because they got a promotion at the last event that I saw them at, so we were very casually talking about work. Fast and the Spurious says, the more I read about your in-laws, the worse they sound. If any of this is true, they are judgy, whiny assholes, and you should just stop associating with them in general. Yeah, look, the longer this post goes on and the more information I extract from OP here, the more on their side I am. Those people that said you're the asshole for asking a stupid question like this obviously didn't go and get extra information from OP here. The extra information was available, as well, so it's not like they didn't have access to it. Oh, you went from child-free to pregnant with your second child, and no one asked you rude questions about it. Actually, they did. And in the context, it wasn't a rude question. You asshole. Also, people picking OP apart for the top of your career and your husband bought a house at 21, as if she's not in the exact same situation as OP here, let's be honest. She's a career gal and you're not. What are you talking about? Probably you're the asshole, but that's just from reading between the lines here. You don't need to read between the lines. These are very similar situations. I'm spoiled and I shouldn't shove it in people's faces. Sorry, she's also benefiting from the house at 21. What, OP's spoiled because she's a few years older than you and she's had longer to progress in her career? I don't know, I feel like that's delusion talking. You can say that she's being dramatic and hormonal because she's pregnant, but as OP says, half the family remembers very clearly that she herself chastised OP for her choice. So why is half of the family in disagreement here? That's what I want to know. How is OP rubbing it in her face that she gets to stay home? She gets to stay home an extra 4 weeks. That's nothing. That's nothing in comparison. What, 8 weeks versus 12 weeks? They also got to make the choice that OP could become a stay-at-home mom. So it's coming from a place of jealousy. Being a stay-at-home mom also comes with financial sacrifices. She said she could never give up her career for her child. She can't give up that part of herself. Her career is a passion and a big part of her identity, and it's sad when women lose themselves in motherhood. This sister-in-law is an asshole. She's putting herself in a position where she's just completely morally above OP, and no matter what OP says and does, she's like, because you decided to be a stay-at-home mom, I'm actually above you and I have no respect for you. I hate her. She sounds insufferable, and if I was in this situation, I'd be siding with OP and coming down hard on sister-in-law for the absolute bullshit spewing out of her mouth. Who does she think she is? Not the asshole OP. And now, on to the update. Shortly after this was posted, I visited sister-in-law. I was babysitting both kiddos so that she could get a spa/salon day before going back to work. I decided to apologize. It's really important to me that we have a good relationship for our children's sake. Also, all of you here helped me realize that she is a lot younger than me and to give her grace for that. We, unexpectedly, had a really deep heart-to-heart where she expressed to me that she only snapped at me because she is so excited to get back to work. My brain can't comprehend that. What are you saying? She feels bad that she doesn't want to stay home with her baby and that she's been feeling stifled being home with the 2 kids. She was also feeling very worried about some of her regular clients jumping ship if she was off any longer. I told her that I totally understood and I could barely handle my puppy when I was her age, much less 2 kids. Thanks to a commenter here, I was careful to specifically clarify that I think that she's doing a fantastic job as a mum and in her career. There was some other stuff about comments from the family and her husband, but it's not important to the update. Anyway, she offered me a free service when she gets back to work, which was yesterday, and has been more friendly with me at family dinner. She's been texting me and calling me just to chat more too. I think maybe she just needed a friend, and I'm glad Joel pointed it out to me because I think me apologizing was the catalyst for our newfound closeness. Sometimes it's hard to hear that you're the asshole, but in this case, even though I felt defensive, I'm glad I listened. Thanks. In the comments, Adorable Echo says, I never thought that you were the asshole in your original post. It sounded like normal family conversation to me. Happy it all worked out for you all. Looking back at the original post, I'm surprised by all the "you're the asshole" comments. Sister-in-law gets a pass for being a huge asshole to OP during the newborn phase because she is young. They're only a few years apart, but when OP tries to validate sister-in-law's decisions, albeit with some naivety to the struggle of working moms, now she's the villain? Must OP tolerate a verbal thrashing in every discussion just because she is the older one? In my opinion, when you're young and childless, you are very ignorant to the postpartum and newborn period. Even I was. I was very humbled when I became a mum myself. I'm so glad that it worked out for you. The reality is that we are all at some point the villain in someone else's story. I missed your first post, and I'm blown away by all the "you're the asshole" comments. You asked her a simple question, and she bit your head off. Regardless of her reasoning, which you now have, there was nothing wrong with what you asked. OP says, this was how I took it too, but also, and I'll have to be 100% honest here, I was not considering the matrescence that is such a sensitive time in someone's life, and knowing that, I should have been more considerate. Much to my chagrin, I've learnt that the word matrescence exists. Lola Lovely says, had your sister-in-law not made a big song and dance about how she could never be a stay-at-home mum, I would say maybe you should have thought twice. Hormones and all that. But because she made her feelings so clear, I never would have thought such an innocent question would be insensitive. I'm in agreement with that as well, and that's why I said she's morally grandstanding, because she gets to make this whole song and dance about how she's better than you, but as soon as you're like, well, because you said this before, you must be really happy to get back, and she's like, how dare you say that? You are filth. Do you know how insensitive that is? That is literally abuse. You're an abusive woman using your age against me. I hate you. And OP replies, and she basically said the same thing. When I apologized, she actually apologized for overreacting and taking it out on me, which I totally get. She has all these emotions, and she obviously won't take them out on the kids. She's not trying to take them out on her husband either, which, let's be real, who didn't low-key hate their husband when postpartum? What? That's a thing? And then she took them out on me as an easy target, particularly because she felt like I should know what she was feeling. Hesha Lobster says, I'm so glad this worked out so well in the end. I never thought that you were the asshole and stated that on your post. You were having normal everyday chit-chat with family. She way overreacted. It makes sense though. There is so much guilt that we have for either wanting to work or wanting to stay home. We can't win. I'm glad this is behind you, and you two are closer than ever now. OP replies, that was a huge part of our conversation. In my honest opinion, I feel like sister-in-law really has a lot of internalized misogyny and made a lot of blanket assumptions about women in general, but now she's a mum, and she's realizing oftentimes women literally can't win. You choose to stay home and raise your kids, and you're deemed a tradwife loser who's setting feminism back, or you decide to go back to work because you love it, and you love that part of yourself, and you're deemed an unfit mother who doesn't care about your kids. I think she's realizing that now. It's giving the Barbie speech from the Barbie movie, where society has the double standards and women just literally can't win because the system is designed to always have something negative to say. I get it now. I'm just Ken, but I'm enlightened Ken. It's just crazy to me that she can realize that she has internalized misogyny, that she has made a lot of blanket assumptions about women in general, and still did that. She still did that to OP. It's great that she has apologized and recognized what she did was wrong, but to me it doesn't forgive that she did that. It's crazy to recognize how fucked society is against you and do that to someone that is your ally. And then get your entire community to also turn against them as well. There was just so many different steps that could have not happened in this situation, and I just feel real bad for OP. But really, it feels like it's what sister-in-law needed in this situation. She needed OP to extend an olive branch despite all of the hurt that sister-in-law has caused. I get it, and I empathize. She's dealing with a lot right now. It's not an easy situation. OP handled this with grace, with maturity, and I'm very proud of OP for doing that. This was an amazing way to deal with this conflict. Thank you for the story, OP. Thank you for the update. Best of luck going forward. Our next post is by user BeneficialSinger355, and it's titled, Am I overreacting? I found this while cleaning, and now I think my fiancé is cheating on me. So it's a picture of her holding up a long strand of hair that is obviously not her hair color. And it looks like an office, not so much a bedroom. Hello. I might sound crazy, but he has cheated on me before with multiple girls, slept with his ex, and was on Tinder. Okay, OP. We listen and we don't judge. This was the first 2 months of our relationship, but I found out when we moved in, which was a year in. We went to couples and individual therapy, and everything was good. Until this morning. I had the day off, so I cleaned the whole apartment, and then something got caught in the vacuum. I pulled it out and I saw this. I know I sound insane, but is this hair? I tried to think what else it could be, but it looks like hair to me. No wigs, as I have wavy black hair. His hair is black curly. We have a cat, black short-haired tuxedo, and a dog, black shepherd. In the comments, Dracula Bit My Balls says, "Single dad here, 39, with a 7-year-old daughter. My ex-wife was a serial cheater. Trust me when I say it never gets better with them. It erodes your trust not only in them, but it erodes your trust in others. It sucks being single sometimes, but my daughter is cuddled up with me watching Teen Titans Go. I have some dishes to do after she goes to bed, but considering my ex is probably blasted drunk with some random on a Tuesday night, I'd say that I got the better end of the deal. Find someone that doesn't force you to warp your worldview to find their behavior forgivable. Being single is a million times better being in a relationship with an unfaithful, untrustworthy asshole. Go you." That part. Relationships are more work. Sure, being single can get lonely, but at least you're not babysitting a grown adult. Girl, why are you still with his sorry ass? He's literally a serial cheater. I found out yesterday that the guy that I was seeing, an ex, reconnected, had a girlfriend and lied about it. We slept together on Friday. I told the girl and she blocked me. Some women just want a man even if he's a piece of shit, and it's sad. Edit, even here, I'm still being blamed for the actions of a lying, cheating asshole. He didn't block me on her phone, he came to my job when I wouldn't reply to him. I know she saw it and blocked me. I stopped after reading the bit about him being a serial cheater. I'm unsure about what's keeping you around after that, but your paranoia is going to be an ongoing thing moving forward, which is not your fault. OP says, "Yes, you're right. I was being extremely naive. We began dating when I was 20. He was my first boyfriend, now almost 24. I have to put myself first and leave. It's most likely that he's cheating again. Well, the fact that he cheated on you in the past and finding this piece of hair which prompted you to make this post says it all. You forever are going to feel this way in the back of your mind. He has cheated on you multiple times and he will do it again. You don't deserve to feel this way, and you deserve to be in a relationship where you are respected and don't have to feel paranoid. It isn't healthy for you mentally or physically." Couldn't agree more. I mean, she didn't find out until 1 year in, and she stayed for 3 more. I think that is 3 years too many. You are not overreacting, thinking that he is cheating, OP. That is definitely another woman's hair. The best time to leave was when you posted that picture. The next best time is in this update, so please do it. Please get rid of his ass. There are people out there that you can trust that will not be serial cheaters. And you deserve to be with someone like that instead of him. And now, onto the update. Hello. Not sure if anybody wants an update, but I left. He was indeed cheating. I packed my things, and I'm currently staying with a friend for now. I always knew that I had to leave, but it was one of the hardest things to do. We met when I was 18, he was 19, both in college. 2 years later, we started dating, graduated together, moved in, and I found out about the cheating. I went through his phone because I suspect he was hiding something, so this is how I found out and confirmed he only did it the first 2 months. Of course, this hurt very badly, since prior to dating we were friends for 2 years. I loved him so deeply that I didn't want to let go. I held on as long as I could. I never told my friends what happened until now. I was too ashamed, and now I'm suffering the consequences of my own mistakes. I never should have taken him back, and I know a lot of you guys will criticize me, but he was my first, and I truly loved him. I thought that he could change, so I gave him a second chance. I'm 24 now, and I have a career, have friends, and family that love me. Why should I waste the rest of my 20s on some guy that takes everything for granted? I think I already knew that he was cheating when I posted this, but I just wanted that push that you guys gave me. Thank you. Truly, thank you for the harsh words, the encouragement, and the compassion. To anyone that's going through something similar, take my advice and everyone's advice. Leave. They never change. They just get better at hiding it. In the comments, Tiny Terry says, I'm super sorry that you had to go through this. I want to point out that you kinda blame yourself a lot in this update, and girl, none of this is your fault. It's great you left when you did. I hope for the best in your future. 100%. I noticed this too, and while it's a common thing to do, this is basically just victim blaming, and she is absolutely the victim here. A newly empowered one though. Let her take some responsibility for taking back a serial cheater. There is no growth in denying any responsibility for anything. My ex was a serial cheater and always gave me the same I'll change blah blah bullshit. It's true, they just get better at hiding it. One day my mum said to me, do you really want to do this back and forth for the rest of your life? I was 26 at the time and I'd been with him since I was 21. I am 28 now and it was the best decision I ever made. It opened up so many doors for truly genuine relationships. They never change. I wish more women realized this before giving second chances. They just hide it better. My mum's best friend Alice discovered her husband had had an affair with his co-worker. He was a teacher and he had a secret bank account with his co-worker. Alice left and found an apartment, etc. They had 2 kids as well. Basically, the husband realized he didn't love the affair partner as much as his actual wife, and turns out the 20% the co-worker gave him didn't make up for the 80% that Alice/wife gave. Anyway, apparently he begged her to get back together and she agreed. Who knows when he's gonna cheat again? Wow, a rare post where someone actually left a toxic relationship and didn't respond with defensive excuses? Refreshing to see. I'm sorry for the emotional turmoil that you're going through now, but it will get so much better from here. Congratulations, and I hope you find a partner worthy of your time. Me too, OP. I'm glad that you did leave his ass. It was a long time coming, and I hope that you do find that better relationship that you were looking for. Because he did cheat again, and he will continue to cheat going forward into the future, making up some bullshit excuses, and getting better at hiding it. Like everyone said, that's all you need to know. You should not stay with a cheater. It is never worth it, I think, and I've always been confused about how people can take back and fix relationships with partners that cheat. It's always going to be a weird spot for me, but hey, it's their life and it's not mine. Our next post is by user ThrowRA and it's titled, I look exactly like my 24 female fiance's 28 male mother. So I've been with my fiancé for the past 5 years and engaged for the past year. He is the love of my life and we get along very well. He's always had a strange adoration for his mother. He usually talks about how smart, how kind, how funny she is. I always thought that it was sweet because I don't have a good relationship with my mother. He often said that I have the same personality type as his mother too. We are both INTPs. During our whole relationship, I hadn't met his family. We live in Germany, they are in the US. We are currently visiting them now. When I met her, I really liked her. She's 64, so I didn't notice our resemblance at first, but when I looked at her wedding photos with my fiancé's father, I really looked like I could be her daughter. Even my fiancé's father pointed it out. We both have curly ginger hair and green eyes, and we both have bangs. We are similar height and build. It's so eerie. If you compare a photo of her in her youth with me, we look like we could be sisters. His mother is also a fan of red lipstick, and guess what the color lipsticks that he buys me are? Red. I asked a few friends what they thought, and they said this obviously can't be a coincidence. I decided to speak to him before bed yesterday, and I pointed out how similar I was to his mother. He shrugged and said people usually choose partners who are similar to their parents. I didn't believe him, but he showed me some articles on Google. I tried to let it go today, but I met some more of his relatives, and everyone's talking about how his mother and I look like we are related. His mother finds this whole thing cute and has said, "My son misses me so much when he's in Germany that he found my look-alike." How do I approach a conversation with him about this again? Or am I just overreacting and should I let it go? I would love some advice. In the comments, Lamau, change your appearance and update us. Oh my god, this is such a good idea. I hope she tries it. And OP says, I am. I will be using some temporary dye on my hair. What color are you going for? I feel like dark would be better because you're ginger, so it's a more drastic change than blonde, but if you wanted to go back, it might ruin the color maybe. And OP says, I've got a few bottles of brown root spray. It's a dark brown. I'm gonna try it out after I wash my hair. Do you feel like you have a mothering role in the relationship? OP says, I don't think so. He works more hours than me and earns more, so he pays for most of our expenses. I handle most of the housework and cooking. But isn't that traditionally the mother role, cooking and cleaning? And Supreme Cultist hits us with this one. Oh my god. I think you're reading too much into it. I wouldn't stress over it until he calls you mummy during sex. And OP replies, you're not gonna like what I'm about to tell you. No, make it stop. What a terrible day to be able to perceive. What a terrible day to perceive. Get out. No, he does not call you mummy during sex. I'm dying. I am dying. That is insane. This is on par with the couch story. I'm so for real right now. This is insanity. Dump him. Get the hell back to Germany and stay away from this guy. That's wild. That's so what everyone is pointing out how similar it is and they keep doing it and you're just like, haha, crazy coincidence that one, huh? A lot of crazy coincidences happening. I look exactly like her. That's just a coincidence. And he's gonna back it up with a little bit of gaslighting. Like, it's actually not that weird. You're just perceiving it as very weird when it's very normal. Look at the study, babe, look at this study. Everyone has an Oedipus complex, actually. You know, Oedipus is actually a really chill guy. I knew him personally. So you should ignore the evidence of weirdness in front of your eyes, babe. I mean, mummy. I can't do it. Oh, get away from him, OP, please. And now, onto the update. Hello everyone. I posted 5 days ago asking for advice because I realized that my fiance's mother and I look extremely similar. Most of the advice told me to change my appearance, which is what I did. I managed to find a very nice wig. It has straight brown hair. His sister-in-law installed it for me. I've had it on for 3 days now, and my fiance hates it. He's pissed at his sister-in-law for installing it too. I made sure that it was a brown that suited me because I am very pale, and everyone has complimented it, but him. Even his mother said that it was beautiful. My fiance keeps saying that it doesn't suit my complexion and that my ginger hair is much better. I made up a lie that my hair couldn't deal with the water in the US. Germany has hard water, but the sister my fiance's family lives in has even harder water, miraculously, so I said my scalp was irritated. He bought a water filter. He refused to have sex with me because I didn't look like myself to him. I also stopped wearing the red lipstick. I wore a pink one instead, and all he did was ask if I had a new favorite. I told him that red was his favorite, not mine, and he agreed with that. Yesterday, I removed the wig so I could wash my hair, and he walked in on me installing it again. He said that I shouldn't put it back on because it looked terrible, and I rolled my eyes and laughed at him. After that, we had a conversation. He said that I looked so much better, Ginger, and he wanted to have sex because we hadn't done it in a few days because of the wig. I told him I didn't know how hair attached to a net prevented us from being intimate. I then asked him why he called me mummy in bed. Disclaimer, I don't even enjoy being called mummy in bed, but I dealt with it because I love him. He gave me the same response as usual and said it was a kink. I said I didn't like it, and he said that he wouldn't do it anymore, but he was disappointed because as his partner, I should be supportive of his kinks. I said that I'd support others, but not this one. I then told him that I found it extremely uncomfortable that I looked exactly like his mother. I said I'd understand if we were both gingers, but we look so similar that people have mistaken us for being mother and daughter. He immediately got defensive and said that it was just a coincidence. I told him that with the mummy kink, it was starting to look intentional. He then finally came clean. He said that he did decide to get to know me because I look like his mother. He said that he first took an interest in me, non-romantic, because the resemblance was uncanny and he was intrigued by it. Then he said he fell in love with my personality, and that is why he decided to ask me out. So he wouldn't have asked me out solely based on my resemblance to his mother. I asked about the red lipstick, and he said that he liked red lipstick, and he asked his mother for a recommendation, so I guess that checks out. I then asked about him gearing me towards hobbies that his mother has. I like to crochet and bake because he first introduced me to those hobbies, and I found out that those are his mother's main hobbies. He said that baking and crocheting are nurturing hobbies, and he wanted a nurturing partner. And since mothers are usually very nurturing, he wanted a partner with his mother's qualities. And about the wig, he said he just preferred my natural hair. I honestly don't know how to feel about all of this. On one hand, this is weird as fuck, but on the other hand, his explanations kinda do make sense. I saw a comment on my old post from a ginger saying that she's dated a lot of men with ginger mothers, so I don't know if this means that this is a normal or extremely abnormal. He is an amazing and loving partner outside of this, so I'm thinking of getting us couples counseling and postponing our wedding plans. One good thing that has come of this is that at least I know I look amazing with brown hair too. I would like some more advice and thoughts on this. I'm still in the US with his family, and I still have my wig on. In the comments, Personal Regular says, "Honey, honey, honey, he only gets aroused when you look like his mom. Why are you making yourself okay with this? He's literally conditioned you into being her doppelganger, and then he lied to your face about it. Why is she okay with this? Don't ignore the ick feeling. This will get worse when you have children and you don't raise them exactly like mummy did. Get therapy for yourself. Figure out if this relationship really serves you or not. How much of yourself have you changed for him? How much have you given up?" OP replies, "Why are you making yourself okay with this?" I don't know, to be honest. He's my first everything, and we've been together for 5 years, and everything was perfect until I met his mum. I know that this relationship is a sinking ship now, but some part of me doesn't want to lose it. Why is she okay with this? Or because she thinks it's cute? And how much of yourself have you changed for him? How much have you given up? I don't think I've changed much, but I probably wouldn't be able to tell. Honey, she's encouraging him to find a replica of her, and that's even more ick than before. You had hobbies before you got together. What were they? What about friends? 5 years is a long time. It's also a drop in the bucket compared to the rest of your life. You deserve a partner who loves you for you, not because of how much you remind him of his mother. If you stay with him, you are signing yourself up for a lifetime of being compared to her, a lifetime of trying to measure up. Was everything actually perfect, or were you perfect about doing what he wanted? What happens when you say no to him? What happens when you make your own plans? What happens when you change your hair? You've already learned that he won't have sex with you. Now that you've pushed back against him a bit, for what sounds like the first time, he's revealing his true self to you. Do you really want to spend the rest of your life with someone who doesn't see you as your own person? You deserve better than this, truly. A good therapist can help you see that. Who wouldn't be an amazing and loving partner to the young, identical version of their mother who has unknowingly been groomed into taking up the exact same hobbies and wearing the same makeup to fulfill their mummy kink literally every single day? This is beyond creepy. How long has he been preparing you to be his wife, mummy? And OP says, we've been together for 5 years. How are you not on the first plane back to Germany? This is so creepy. OP says, I looked at the tickets and they're very expensive. I'm gonna call the airline to see if my existing tickets can be brought forward. I'm not sure if this will be the case with international flights, but you can go to the airport and see if they can put you on standby so if someone cancels, you can get on the next flight. Heck, call the closest German embassy and ask for help. You are trapped in an abusive situation, there is probably a protocol for this. OP says, I'll see if I can get put on standby. My fiancé paid for my original ticket, so the money loss is his problem. I haven't been threatened physically or abused, except some gaslighting, I guess, so I don't think the embassy would care. And final comment, did you end up breaking up with your boyfriend or what's gonna happen? OP says, I told him that I'm going back to Germany so I can have time to think. I'm probably going to dump him when he comes back. Thank God. Thank God, OP. There is 5 years of conditioning you need to undo because none of this is normal, none of this is acceptable, and the mum agreeing with it and thinking that it's cute is also beyond weird. What a weirdo being like, oh, she's my exact copy. She does everything that I do. She dresses like me, the younger version. This isn't weird at all. It's actually really cute. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Thank God OP is probably going to dump him when he comes back to Germany. I think you just dump him as you're on that plane to Germany and you save yourself the baggage and bullshit of him coming to gaslight you and beg and plead on his knees in person. I don't know the answer to this one, but what a weirdo. I hope you did get therapy since this update, OP, and you are getting the help you need to escape the bullshit that he has set you up for. His response to you wearing a wig and withholding sex from you was textbook abuser. And yeah, it does look like that was the first time you genuinely stood up to him and the mask slipped easily. He didn't even try to hide the abuse. He's just like, you know what? No sex for you because I'm disgusted by how much you have changed in such a short time. And I'm not going to compliment your look. I think it's disgusting. I hate it. I just want you to be a ginger. Is there something wrong with that? Yeah, that is abusive behavior. Run and do not look back. Thank you for the story and thank you for the update. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I debated keeping this outtake or not when discussing the double standard of the sister-in-law in that story before, where I believed that she was morally grandstanding above OP, and then when OP kind of ignores it and asks her about returning to work, she is also then offended by that. And this was my initial interpretation of it because I was heated. I was very mad about it while I worked myself up. So enjoy. Because you said this before, you must be really happy to get back. And she's like, bitch, what did you just say to me? I'm going to save that for the outtakes of this one.